Our world will go through rapid and disruptive changes in the next 30 years. How can Etex play a vital role in this? How can we prove our relevancy in 2030, 40, 50 with a strong sense of direction, with a big mobilizing project that builds potent solutions for the challenges and opportunities that face our world? To start our sense of purpose journey into the future, we focus on the 4 megatrends that will define the core of our business. Rapid urbanization, climate change and resources scarcity, disruptive technology, sharing global responsibility. We selected more than 30 megatrend reporters, experts from our global Etex community, and visionary architects and entrepreneurs. This is the essence of their stories. Food for thought to define our sense of purpose and future relevance. Rapid urbanization. By 2050, 7 out of every 10 people will live in a city. This mega migration creates big challenges and opportunities. Entire new cities are built from the ground up, with Asia and Africa witnessing the biggest growth. Booming cities demand a big boost in building productivity. Singapore is a megacity in full expansion, integrating live, work, play functions, smart city technology, and high-rise gardens. Modular building units speed up construction. Could Etex become a driver or crucial partner in integrated building system solutions? Mature cities need to upgrade their infrastructure and house a higher population density per square meter. The city of Lima is locked in between the desert and the sea. The only solution for the rising population is multi-family homes with more levels. Do-it-yourself construction represents 2/3 of the market. Top-up lightweight modules can offer Lima ample room for expansion. What if Etex offered IKEA-like modules, tailor-made and well-designed to meet the different tastes and budgets, to upgrade the slums, the poor suburbs, and the uptown center? German urban areas require up to 1.3 million new housing units. A recent study found that 1.5 million new homes can be constructed cost-effectively on top of existing buildings. This would save up to 2.1 million square meters of building land. The UK faces a giant housing shortage. A rapidly growing population, a rising need for single-person units, and a faltering building productivity add up to a perfect storm. To counter this, the British government intends to build 17 new garden towns and villages for 200,000 new homes. The private sector starts to invest heavily in factory-built housing. In 2016, Legal & General opened Europe's largest off-site construction factory, and a joint venture was announced between 2 British companies, including a renewable energy specialist and China National Building Material Company, to build 25,000 modular homes per year by 2022 in 6 factories across the UK. Former USSR countries like Lithuania need to renovate many thousands of apartment buildings. In a revealing side-by-side test, Etex proved that a newly insulated block of flats not only added to the aesthetic well-being of the neighborhood, it also reduced heating costs by 60%. Spending power rises in emerging countries and stabilizes in the West. This pushes the need for affordable housing with rising quality standards. According to McKinsey, by 2025, as many as 106 million low-income households will need affordable housing. This represents $200 billion to $250 billion in revenues annually. That's nearly 1/10 of the global residential real estate construction industry. 12 million Brazilians live in favelas. Some 2 million houses need to be upgraded and integrated. Moreover, Brazil has a housing deficit of 6 million units. The need for mass production and fast construction is driving a new prefab housing industry. An important factor in the Colombian peace process is the resettlement of the FARC fighters. Over 200,000 new houses need to be built. In the first phase, Etex supplied Moduplac housing kits. In the next stage, Etex will work together with a steel frame producer a national savings fund, and peace foundations to supply high-quality building kits. Meanwhile, more upscale modular housing designs are developed. In South Africa, massive migration puts pressure on the townships. Affordable housing kits are an efficient solution, but township dwellers prefer brick houses and are skeptical of building kits, so a high-quality solution is needed, in combination with a direct presence in the townships and a close partnership with the local authorities. Rapid urbanization in Paris is demanding 70,000 new affordable homes per year. 140 square kilometers of newly planned city need to be linked. The Grand Paris Express will connect 12 million Parisians via a closely knit transportation network by 2030. It's a 24.9 billion euro project spanning 200 kilometers of new tracks, requiring 68 new stations and a multitude of new urban developments in 153 municipalities. The building authority, Société du Grand Paris, imposes strict standards to reduce the ecological footprint of materials used, transports to sites, and construction methods. Climate change and resources scarcity. Skyrocketing CO2 levels, rising sea levels, higher temperatures. Climate change is affecting our world and requires drastic measures. We are depleting our planet's resources at a rapid pace. In 2015, all of us consumed 1.6 planets worth of resources. By 2030, this figure is set to rise to 2 planets. These last 3 years, China used more cement than the United States in the entire 20th century. We need to drastically reduce our carbon footprint and voracious use of materials. We have to switch to renewable energy, a cradle-to-cradle approach, and a circular economy. Plasterboard gypsum comes from 2 sources: natural gypsum from quarries and synthetic gypsum, a rest product from coal-fired power stations. To reduce CO2 emissions, coal power stations are shut down in Europe, which means synthetic gypsum will disappear as well. Can we compensate for the loss with natural gypsum? This will be a challenge in Europe. From 2020 onwards, some EU countries will be out of natural gypsum reserves. One of the solutions is recycling. Technically, the plasterboard industry could substitute up to 30% of its gypsum needs through recycling. To maximize recycling efficiency, everybody in the building value chain needs to partner up, from developing easily removable paints to involving architects, building companies, and waste removers and separators. The construction industry is the #1 consumer of global raw materials. We ultimately need to evolve towards a cradle-to-cradle approach. But how do you start? And does it pay to be a pioneer? Let's take a look at a unique case story from the carpet manufacturing industry. In 2007, at the outbreak of a worldwide financial crisis, Dassault decided to reinvent itself and totally remodel its business towards 100% cradle-to-cradle. Dassault fully engaged all its stakeholders on a journey to shift from a linear to a circular business model. A roadmap was developed to reach the cradle-to-cradle gold status by 2020. All departments are involved: finance, R&D, purchasing, operations, sales and marketing. Dassault partnered up with suppliers and set up a cradle-to-cradle learning community with 16 leading companies. It developed its own take-back system that aims to recycle 50,000 tons of used carpet tiles by 2020. Dassault's bold move is paying off. Its EBITDA has only increased. Buildings are responsible for 30% of global greenhouse gases, yet smart technology could turn houses into positive forces for the environment. Tesla is combining solar roofs and battery technology to make homes and even entire neighborhoods self-sufficient in energy via smart grids. Connecting buildings via sensors turns them into intelligent units, regulating cooling, heating, and energy storage with maximum efficiency. Roof and facade can play an important role in this when they are part of an integrated solution, combining the necessary green functionalities and technologies: energy production and storage, cooling, heating, water collection, vertical gardens, roof farms, anti-smog effect. Paris wants to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 75% before 2050. By then, the metropolis will need to house an extra 3 million inhabitants. To meet this challenge, a special R&D project was set up. 2050 Paris Smart City. They asked Belgian architect Vincent Callebaut to come up with solutions. The city of the future is vertical, with facades covered with vegetation, Callebaut claims. He wants to expand the horizontal Parisian architecture with prefabricated honeycomb modules. The new skyline would be dominated by green skyscrapers that produce energy, counter the urban hothouse effect, recycle waste, grow fruit and vegetables, and clean the air from smog. Is this purely utopian thinking? Not necessarily. Presently, Callebaut is building in Taipei, Taiwan, a fully sustainable carbon-absorbing tower with cradle-to-cradle materials. It carries an urban forest of 23,000 trees, has natural air conditioning, and an energy-producing roof. Disruptive technology. The recent World Economic Forum reports on the future of construction are eye-opening for our sector. In an era of disruptive technology, the building industry has been lagging behind. While overall labor productivity increased by 153% over the last 50 years, building productivity dropped by 19%. In view of the huge need for housing and cost reductions, the building industry urgently needs to shift gears. But the big transition is definitely coming, and laggers will be left behind. In China, giant factories build fully fitted modules, allowing a 57-story skyscraper to go up in 19 days. 3D printing is taking off in the house construction industry. Winsun builds 10 houses a day with 3D printing. It recently concluded a deal with the Egyptian government for 20,000 single-story dwellings. Construction robotics and automated equipment are coming our way. Drones, 3D scanners, sensors, RFID tags, and data technology will monitor and streamline the entire building process from manufacturing to installation. BIM, short for Building Information Modeling, will be used more consistently. BIM facilitates collaboration throughout the building cycle, from R&D to planning to manufacturing to constructing. Even after delivery, BIM is helpful for the operation and maintenance of the building, up to renovation or demolishing and recycling. BIM would be a potent enabler of cradle-to-cradle. Another collaborative tool will be virtual reality. It engages all stakeholders by clarifying the design and indicating progress throughout the project's life cycle. Disruption is also at work in our distribution channels. Digital platforms like msupply.com, Alibaba.com, and Amazon drive price transparency and squeeze suppliers to ever lower margins. Specialized wholesalers take over our advisory role. How to counter this double disruption? By moving up in the value chain with value-adding services and integrated solutions. Another disruptive force is the growing complexity. On the one hand, there's the increasing number of certificates and standards from various authorities. On the other hand, there's the multitude of smart technology functionalities. The player who masters this complexity with integrated solutions will own the value chain. Can we become a master of complexity? Sharing global responsibility. When you search Google Scholar for scientific articles on the impact of CSR, you get nearly 300,000 hits. Most of these 300,000 articles confirm that companies really do well when they are doing good. A consistent and true CSR attitude has a proven impact on business performance, customer loyalty, employee satisfaction, and peer effect. Customer loyalty pioneer Don Peppers says it loud and clear in his 2012 business bestseller. Due to the transparency of the social World Wide Web, only the extremely trustworthy companies will thrive. Global companies like Shell, with a troubled past as polluter and violator of human rights, are setting course for a consistent CSR journey. What should Etex do? Our Etex founders started with a heartfelt purpose: making reliable building materials accessible for all. To fulfill this purpose, they built on the unique qualities of fiber cement: fire-resistant, strong, insulating, and affordable. Asbestos cement was used worldwide by many industries for numerous applications in the 50s and 60s. The dark side of the wonder material only gradually emerged due to the long latency period of asbestos-related diseases. Etex took measures, but the effects and responsibilities will be with us for many years to come. It takes 45 years on average for asbestos-related cancer to appear. It is a relatively rare disease, but it will remain in the news when incidences rise. So will the lawsuits. There still remain lots of Etex brownfields around the globe. Our asbestos removal policy is guided by a risk-based approach. This year, the budget is €6 million. At this pace, it will take many extra years to clean up the many sites. A multitude of houses, agricultural and industrial buildings still contain asbestos materials. Throughout Europe, legislation is in the making to push for asbestos removal. How will we tackle these problems? Up to now, we have handled them mostly reactively. Isn't it time for a proactive approach? For instance, by participating in research on effective asbestos recycling, as it is now disposed of in landfills. Should we develop services, collaborations, and training to facilitate the removal? The challenge is to find the right and fair balance between social responsibility and commercial interest. The asbestos legacy will remain with us for many years, but so will the legacy of the social commitment of our founders. In the same spirit, a family member of the Etex founder started a social housing project 40 years ago. The Celavip Foundation provides land and adequate shelter for very poor families in the slums of Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Over 1 billion people worldwide live in slums. Celavip supports the poorest of the poor by securing land title and basic housing so that they can build a future from a stable home. Reducing costs is essential. A Celavip house in the slums needs to cost less than $2,000. Vertical uplift offers extra possibilities. A second floor is a big advantage where land is scarce and expensive. Etex could be a driving force by being part of a pilot project to develop a solid alternative to cheap wood dwellings at a competitive price. How will Etex carve out a strong future in an era of change, dominated by disruptive technology and rapid urbanization? How will we honor our legacy of social responsibility? One thing is crystal clear. We have to make daring choices to earn our share of the future. A well-defined purpose, giving us focus and mobilizing the best in all of us, will be a vital beacon for a successful journey.